The dog had never cared about the high chair before, which is exactly why it mattered when he started caring. Bo was a 3-year-old golden retriever, reliably good-natured to the point where his personality was almost background noise in the house. He ate, he slept, he was pleasant. He tolerated everything. He had watched them assemble the high chair when Lena was 4 months old, without any particular opinion about it. It was furniture. He had moved around it for 14 months without incident. So, when he planted himself in front of it Monday morning and would not move, Claudette stopped what she was doing and looked at him for a full 5 seconds. Lena was 18 months old and increasingly opinionated about breakfast. She stood at Claudette's leg, one hand gripping the fabric of her sweatpants, leaning toward the kitchen with the physical urgency of a toddler who has decided oatmeal is a matter of some importance. Bo was between her and the high chair, facing it. Not Claudette, not the child. The chair. Bo. He didn't turn around. She tried to move him by the collar. He moved with her pull, circled, and returned to the same position. She put Lena down on the kitchen rug and attempted to slide the high chair sideways. Bo repositioned. He was not growling. He was not stiff. He was calm, committed, and between them and the chair in a way that was not accidental. Her husband, Robert, worked a night shift and was sleeping. She stood in the kitchen alone with an 18-month-old and a dog who had decided that a high chair was a problem. She tried once more. Bo moved with her and around her, gentle but absolute. She sat Lena in the portable clip-on seat at the kitchen table instead. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Robert woke at noon. He heard the story and looked at the high chair with the expression of someone being asked to take seriously something they are not sure they should take seriously. He examined it, visually, not structurally. It looked fine. He sat down in it, fully grown adult, 190 pounds, testing the frame. It held. He said it was probably nothing, and Claudette said she knew it was probably nothing. And that evening, she Googled the model number out of a feeling she couldn't quite name. The product safety database returned results in under a second. The chair had been on a voluntary recall list for 11 days. The locking mechanism on the front tray, the component that latched the tray against the seat and kept an occupant from sliding forward, had a manufacturing defect in units from a specific production run. Under normal use, the latch appeared to engage correctly under the dynamic weight shifting of an active toddler, reaching, leaning, the specific forward lurch of a child who has spotted something interesting. The latch could disengage without warning. The fall height from that model, at full recline, was 22 inches. For a child of Lena's weight and developmental stage, that fall, if forward onto a tile floor, carried a documented risk of skull fracture. The replacement tray arrived 4 days. Claudette installed it in the kitchen and stepped back and looked at it, and then looked at Bo, who had returned to his usual position near the back door, wholly uninterested. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. She called the pediatric safety nurse at their practice, a woman named Harriet Osei, 12 years, in child injury prevention. She described Bo's behavior. Harriet was quiet for a moment and then said, "There is some research on dogs detecting structural stress in materials through vibration sensitivity and olfactory detection of degrading polymers. The honest answer is we don't fully understand the mechanism. What we know is that dogs have been documented responding to structural failures and material degradation before humans identify them." She paused. "What I would tell every parent is, if a calm dog behaves in a focused, atypical way around a piece of equipment your child uses, check the equipment. You may not find anything, but the cost of checking is low." Claudette looked at the new tray, properly latched, properly installed. The cost of not checking was something she did not want to calculate. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Bo walked into the kitchen at dinner time, glanced at the high chair, and walked past it to his water bowl. Lena banged her spoon on the new tray with great satisfaction. Bo drank and padded back to the living room. He did not look at the chair again. Whatever he had been reading in it was gone. The next story is about a dog who started sitting at the foot of a crib at the same hour every night for 2 weeks before anyone understood why. She thought about that for a long time afterward, about the nature of the threshold. The baby monitor in the room had been calibrated for movement and sound. It would have caught a fall, a cry, a silence that lasted too long. It would not have caught the thing that Bo had caught, a structural failure waiting to happen, a latch that held until it didn't, a drop that would have registered as incident only after the fact. She had a neighbor who was an engineer. She called her that weekend and described what had happened. Not the dog part, just the chair, the mechanism, the recall. The neighbor listened and said, "That's a fatigue failure." The mechanism worked perfectly until it didn't, and the failure mode was invisible until enough stress had accumulated. You can't see that kind of failure coming. Claudette said, Bo saw it coming. Her neighbor was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Some things have signatures that animals read and instruments don't. Polymer degradation, microvibration patterns in fatigued metal, chemical off-gassing from stressed materials. Dogs have been documented responding to structural failures. We just don't understand the full mechanism yet." Claudette thought about Bo facing the high chair. The specific angle of his attention, not at Lena, not at her, at the chair. The precise placement of his body in the space between the child and the object. The 7 minutes of patient immovability that everyone in that house had read as stubbornness and which had been, in fact, the most articulate communication available to a dog who had no other language for what he had identified. She did not put Lena in a second-hand chair again. She registered the replacement unit with the manufacturer's recall notification system. She read the safety certification language on the next purchase with a precision she had not previously brought to the task. She also looked at Bo differently, not as a dog who was sometimes inconvenient. As a sensor, she had been underutilizing.